A humble woman was refused a room at the lavish hotel owned by her billionaire spouse. The employees shamed her publicly in front of all. Yet upon his arrival and witnessing their actions, his response stunned the whole hotel team. The spinning doors of the Mitchell Grand Hotel turned as Beth Mitchell entered the lavish foyer. The stark difference between her and the setting was instantly obvious. At age 32, Beth's calm assurance appeared in her firm look, even as wariness tugged at her posture following a complete day instructing at her local art initiative. Her gray shirt dotted with paint, light denim coat, and faded jeans revealed a lady who prioritized meaning above looks. The gray and white trucker hat tugged down over her brown ponytail finished a picture that clashed with the extravagance all around her. Crystal chandeliers threw golden glows over marble surfaces while smartly attired visitors chatted near a majestic piano. Their soft talks were interrupted by the soft tones of a classical melody. Beth shifted her backpack, abruptly noticing the dried paint beneath her nails as she headed to the front desk, where two perfectly groomed workers waited alertly. The phone chat with her husband, Robert, only 30 minutes earlier had been short. Following an exhausting day, aiding disadvantaged kids, the idea of driving 2 additional hours to their rural house had made her weary to the bone. When Robert proposed she stay at his property, it had felt like the ideal fix. "I'll inform them you're arriving," he'd assured her before ending the call. His tone carried the warmth of the love that had supported their improbable 5-year union. Scarcely anyone would have matched the billionaire hotel tycoon with the committed art educator. But their bond had sparked right away when Robert contributed to her faltering initiative years back. Right from the start, they'd set firm limits. She would keep her self-reliant way of life, and he would never demand she turn into a showpiece spouse. Her efforts with kids were far too vital to give up for a world of extravagance. "Good evening." Beth greeted the male desk clerk with a weary grin, whose badge said, "Bradley. I'm Beth Mitchell. My husband should have phoned about reserving a room for me." Bradley's gaze scanned her outfit. The trucker hat, relaxed attire, backpack, and his polite smile stiffened just a touch. "Do you have ID, madam?" His words carried a hint of doubt that Beth didn't miss. Naturally. She rummaged in her backpack, pulled out her wallet, and showed her driver's license. "Elizabeth Mitchell." Bradley inspected it with deliberate slowness, then eyed his female coworker, Emma, who lifted a brow faintly. "And you claim Mr. Mitchell booked a room for you?" His inflection showed plain disbelief. "Yes, merely minutes earlier." "Robert Mitchell, who runs this hotel." Beth held her tone, even though tiredness frayed her patience. The pair of desk clerks swapped another glance, this time more blatant. Emma bent closer, her voice hushed yet clear to guests nearby. "Mom, we're a 5-star upscale hotel. Maybe there's been a mix-up." Beth sensed heat rising in her face. "No mix-up exists. I'm Elizabeth Mitchell, wife of Robert Mitchell. He controls this entire hotel empire." The foyer had hushed further, with multiple guests now eyeing the interaction curiously. "Of course you are." Bradley's words oozed sarcasm. "And I'm the Queen of England." Emma advanced, her polished manner hardly hiding her scorn. "Look, this happens now and then. Folks figure saying they're linked to the Mitchell family gets them perks." "I'm not saying anything," Beth stated steadily, keeping her voice steady. "I am Elizabeth Mitchell. My spouse is Robert Mitchell. He runs this hotel empire." A stylish pair close by had paused to observe, the lady murmuring to her partner, Bradley spotted their focus and appeared bolder in his stance. Mrs. Mitchell, he stressed the title with clear doubt, is an ex-model sitting on various charity committees. She went to the Met Gala last month. His eyes roamed over Beth's paint-flecked jeans and laid-backed shirt. Maybe you'd prefer another spot more fitting for your situation. Beth experienced a surge of outrage, not for herself, but for the idea his remark stood for. The notion that value linked to looks, that a spouse of riches must appear and act in a specific manner. My husband phoned in advance. Kindly check your records. Bradley exhaled theatrically and pretended to type on his terminal. No booking listed for Elizabeth or Beth Mitchell. No message from Mitchell either. He glanced up with mock pity. How unexpected. Could you phone him, please? Beth requested, holding her poise amid the expanding crowd. Phone Mr. Mitchell right away. Emma chuckled softly. Mr. Mitchell ranks among America's richest executives. We don't ring him just because somebody in a trucker hat says she's his spouse. Beth drew a deep breath. Then summon the shift manager. That's not needed, Bradley answered. Look, we're swamped with real visitors. He waved at the lengthening queue behind Beth. The cozy inn 6 blocks away might have space. A refined senior gentleman in line chimed in. Is something wrong here? Emma faced him with a total shift in attitude. Warm, inviting, courteous. No issue whatsoever, sir. Merely guiding this individual to better lodging. I'm not going anywhere, Beth declared softly, yet resolutely. My husband is Robert Mitchell. This is his property, and I'd like the manager immediately. Bradley's grin disappeared completely. Security will remove you if required. Right then, a security officer neared. Is everything okay here? This lady won't depart, Bradley clarified. She's insisting she's Mrs. Mitchell and stirring trouble. The security officer, a mid-40s guy named Frank per his badge, faced Beth. Mom, I'll need you to come along with me. Various guests were now staring openly, some holding up phones. Beth felt a wave of shame flood her, but she held firm. This went beyond just her now. It concerned every individual ever assessed by looks instead of personality. I am not stirring trouble, she stated distinctly. I am attempting to register at my husband's hotel following a tiring workday. Frank appeared uneasy, but kept his duty-bound posture. Please don't complicate this, ma'am. I want your general manager. Beth's tone stayed serene but resolute. Bradley sneered. Richard's at a conference in New York. I'm the top staff here tonight. Then phone Richard. Or even better, phone Robert Mitchell straight away. I promise he'll want to know your treatment of his wife. A graceful lady in high-end attire who had viewed the scene stepped up. Bradley, maybe verify once more. This looks like a mix-up that might get messy. Bradley adjusted his tie. Mrs. Pembroke, I guarantee, we know the Mitchell family intimately. This lady isn't Beth Mitchell. Mrs. Pembroke eyed Beth with blended sympathy and awkwardness. Of course, I just figured. It's okay. Beth cut in. I value your worry. She faced Bradley again. I'll sit in the foyer and await my husband. He'll arrive shortly. I've shown plenty of patience, Bradley stated, his inflection toughening. Frank, remove this individual right now. The security officer advanced hesitantly. Ma'am, please don't force me to pull you out by force. Beth sensed every gaze upon her. The affluent visitors, the workers, all seeing her degradation. For an instant, she thought of exiting, dodging the drama building. But an inner force wouldn't yield. You're erring badly, she murmured softly. The sole error, Emma broke in, was allowing you inside. We don't cater to your type here. A shared intake of breath came from some watchers. Beth's face flushed hot with fury and shame. My type, she echoed. Folks seeking freebies, Bradley specified, his voice carrying to all. Folks faking who they are. Frank set a hand on Beth's arm. Ma'am, please. Beth yanked her arm free. Don't touch me. The strain in the foyer felt thick. Some visitors seemed uneasy, others intrigued. A handful even looked amused by the display. Beth stood isolated, encircled by splendor, yet forced to feel utterly valueless due to her outfit. We don't cater to the poor, Emma whispered sharply, her composed facade crumbling fully. The statement lingered like a tangible force, jarring in its raw disdain. Even Bradley seemed startled by his coworker's flare-up. For Beth, moments stretched endlessly. In that instant, she wasn't merely Beth Mitchell, spouse of a billionaire bard from his hotel. She embodied every soul ever evaluated by their outfit, speech, or looks. Every kid in her art initiative told they didn't fit. Every visionary brushed off without a shot. Frank's hold firmed on her arm. Mom, you must exit now. As he started leading her to the doors, the entryway's revolving doors whirled and a tall man in a flawlessly cut suit entered the foyer. If you're liking this tale up to now, remember to tap that subscribe button so you catch all our fresh videos. Now, returning to our narrative where events are set to twist surprisingly. Robert Mitchell stepped into the Mitchell Grand with the subtle assurance of someone secure in his world's role. At 45, his graying hair and fit frame lent him a refined look that earned regard without insisting on it. After a lengthy flight, and with dawn meetings planned, he simply craved seeing his wife and sharing a peaceful meal. As he traversed the marble expanse, he quickly spotted the unrest by the front desk. A group had formed, and in its midst, guided toward the exit by a guard, stood Beth. Robert halted, absorbing the sight with expert calm. His wife's upright bearing amid clear shame, the guard's awkward yet firm clasp on her arm, the arrogant faces of the desk crew, the whispering throng of spectators. Briefly, he just watched, his arrival overlooked in the playing drama. In dealings, Robert had discovered that the truest insights emerged when folks believed no key figure observed. He advanced quietly, overhearing bits of talk. Can't believe she figured that succeed, pretending to be Mrs. Mitchell of anyone. Some lack any decency. As he neared, Beth noticed him. Relief shone in her eyes, yet she offered no dramatic move, no victorious call. That serene grace, her choice against boosting even then, ranked among the many traits that made him fall for her. Robert laid a gentle hand on Frank's shoulder, prompting the guard to pivot. "Pardon me," Robert murmured. "Is there an issue here?" Frank's face changed from shock to awareness instantly. "Mr. Mitchell, sir, you can let go of my wife's arm now, Frank." The phrase landed in the foyer like pebbles in calm water, sparking waves of astonishment among all nearby. Frank released Beth's arm at once as though it scorched him. "Your wife," he stuttered. Robert shifted to Beth's side, wrapping a shielding arm over her shoulders. "Are you okay?" he inquired tenderly. She dipped her head, her body's strain easing a bit at his nearness. "Just a mix-up." Evidently, Bradley and Emma had turned ashen, rooted behind the desk. The foyer plunged into amazed quiet, every stare locked on the developing moment. "Robert," Bradley at last uttered, his pitch oddly shrill. "We didn't realize." Robert lifted a hand, muting him immediately. When he addressed them, his tone stayed even, restrained, and thus more commanding. "I'd like to grasp precisely what occurred here." He scanned the assembled group, the guard, and ultimately the desk team. From the start, Bradley's work poise had vanished totally. A dreadful mix-up happened, sir. We failed to identify Mrs. Mitchell, and you didn't identify her. Robert restated, his manner impartial, but his stare keen. So naturally, you summoned security to eject her from the building. She didn't look like Emma started, then halted suddenly, grasping too late her statement's meaning. Like what precisely? Robert queried, his focus piercing on her intensely. Emma gulped. Like someone fitting as Mrs. Mitchell. Robert inclined his head gradually, as if pondering it. And what, by your expert view, should Mitchell resemble? The query floated unresolved. Beth clasped her husband's hand, a wordless plea for moderation. She sought no public shaming as payback, not even from those who'd shamed her. Perhaps, Robert went on, his words now for the whole foyer. This presents a chance for everyone to consider how fast we assess others by looks. He eyed the crowd. How many of you figured my wife didn't fit here due to her attire? Various visitors glanced away awkwardly. Mrs. Pembroke, the earlier intervener, came forward. I regret not advocating stronger, she told Beth straightforwardly. I sensed your treatment was unfair. Beth grinned sincerely. Thanks for attempting. Robert faced the desk crew again. Bradley. Emma. My office immediately. He looked at Frank. You as well. As they headed to the lift, Robert stopped and addressed the foyer anew. The Mitchell Grand was built on delivering outstanding service to every guest, not only those matching a specific type. I'm profoundly let down that ideal was ignored today. With that, he led Beth to the exclusive lift, abandoning a foyer packed with stunned visitors and workers. Robert's personal office atop the Mitchell Grand provided a vast panorama of Portland's skyline, but nobody gazed at the vista. Bradley, Emma, and Frank stood stiffly before Robert's desk, while Beth sat silently in a soft armchair nearby, her backpack and trucker hat set on the floor next to her. The difference couldn't have been sharper. Beth in her paint, marked garments amid splendor, yet emitting a serene grace that rendered the lavishness nearly shallow by contrast. Robert lingered by the glass briefly, organizing his ideas. When he faced them, his look showed not fury, but deep letdown. I launched Mitchell Luxury Properties 15 years back. He started, his tone deliberate. My initial hotel was a revamped motel in Seattle holding only 28 rooms. I still recall scrubbing those rooms myself when help was scarce. He approached his desk, lifted a framed picture, and displayed it to them. A younger Robert in work, gear posing proudly before a plain structure. I began with zero, he went on. My dad was a custodian. My mom held 2 waitress shifts. The suits, the office, this hotel network, arrived afterward. Bradley and Emma traded uneasy looks. Sir, we didn't know it was Mrs. Mitchell, Bradley ventured, his tone tense. We would never have. That's exactly the issue, Robert cut in. You mustn't handle anyone as you did my wife today, whether connected to me or otherwise. Emma fidgeted anxiously. We must uphold standards. Standards. Robert's tone edged sharper. Allow me to explain standards, Emma. My wife leads an art initiative aiding kids from every walk. Kids whose worlds shift because she spots their promise no matter their origins or outfits. He set the picture down gently. Today, in precisely this attire, Beth aided a boy silent for months to share himself via art. That's her standard. What's yours? Assessing folks by attire. Frank, the guard, stared at his footwear. Mr. Mitchell, I merely followed rules. Rules to bodily eject someone not troubling anyone. Someone just not matching your guest image. Beth voiced her first words. Robert, they performed their roles as they saw them. Her tone was kind yet solid. That's the core problem here. Robert's face eased as he regarded his wife. She proceeded, speaking straight to the trio. I'm not upset with you individually. I'm concerned by a setup that trained you to link value to looks. That certain folks merit respect, while others don't, based on dress or apparent wealth. Bradley's polished front broke, exposing true remorse. Mrs. Mitchell, I lack words. You needn't speak, Beth answered. Just hear me. Robert stepped behind his desk, fully the executive. Now, this is the plan. Tomorrow dawn, I'm convening an urgent gathering of all Mitchell Group hotel leaders. We're launching a full revamp of our staff training, targeting bias and bias removal in guest service. He faced Emma. The line, "We don't serve your kind here," will never echo in any of my hotels. Understood. Emma nodded, cheeks red with shame. Frank, Robert pressed on, security's role is safeguarding guests, not scaring them. Fresh rules get created at once. Frank stood taller. Yes, sir. And Bradley, Robert concluded. As shift lead, your example shapes all. Your deeds today mirrored a culture I never intended for my hotels. Bradley appeared queasy. Will we be fired, sir? The query lingered. The three workers froze, awaiting judgment. Beth rose and joined her husband's side. They shared a glance, a mute exchange from profound insight and common principles. Robert faced the workers again. First, you won't be fired. Their ease showed but faded fast. Instead, Robert added, you'll pioneer the new training, then roll it out to every site. Bradley raised his eyes astonished. Sir, dismissing you would be simple. Robert clarified. Having you drive our culture shift holds far more worth. You felt directly how bias sparks awful errors. That positions you as ideal change agents. Beth grinned, evidently endorsing this path. Sometimes our biggest errors spark our top impacts if we choose to learn. Emma, quiet till now, spoke at last. Why offer us that shot after our actions? Beth replied before Robert could. Because everyone merits a chance to evolve and improve, including you, Robert agreed. From tomorrow, Bradley, partner with HR on full anti-bias sessions. Emma, shift temporarily to our community efforts. He eyed Frank. And Frank, assist in updating all security rules to balance effectiveness and courtesy. The three straightened. The shot at making amends, restoring the grace their prior shame had taken. One final item, Robert noted. Each of you will volunteer a day at my wife's art initiative. I want you witnessing the wonders when folks are prized for their essence, not attire or funds. Beth's eyes glistened with feeling. This wasn't revenge or penalty. It was renewal. That's it for now. Robert wrapped up. Resume your posts. We'll reconvene tomorrow morning. As they exited, each whispered regrets to Beth. She replied with a nod, her look neither vengeful nor overly lenient, just compassionate. When the door shut, Robert's stiff manner dissolved. He went to Beth and clasped her hands. I'm truly sorry you endured that, he whispered. Beth gripped his hands. I'm not. Robert seemed startled. You're not? No. Beth shook her head. Today's events were terrible, but they strike folks daily without a billionaire spouse to fix them. At least this sparks real good. Robert grinned, his special grin just for her. That's why I wed you. You know, your skill at spotting meaning in tough times. Beth grabbed her trucker, hat, and backpack. So, regarding that room service and steaming bath you vowed me. 3 months later, Beth, positioned in the chief foyer of the Mitchell Grand, observed Bradley greeting an older lady in a plain housedress and frayed sweater. The shift in his manner wasn't merely work-related. It was heartfelt. He guided her to the lift with the regard he'd give a royal guest. Quite the shift, Robert commented, joining Beth's side. Beth inclined her head, contentment clear on her face. The stats prove it, too. Guest approval has climbed 23% everywhere. What started as handling one event grew into a firm-wide upheaval. The Dignity for All campaign rolled out to every Mitchell hotel with Bradley, unexpectedly its fiercest supporter. Bradley's running another session today. Robert noted he's asked to expand the initiative to our global sites next month. Beth grinned. Sometimes folks simply need a chance to exceed themselves. Across the foyer, Emma exited the rear office with a youth in a wheelchair. Her alteration stood out most strikingly. After her stint at Beth's art initiative, she sought lasting transfer to community ties, now managing a setup offering hotel placements to underprivileged teens. "Mrs. Mitchell?" Emma called, steering the youth their way. "Meet Marcus. He begins culinary training today." Beth welcomed the anxious teen kindly. "Marcus was in my art class last year," she told Robert. "He possesses amazing detail vision. The head chef looks forward to you," Robert said to the youth, clasping his hand. As Emma took Marcus to the kitchens, Beth spotted Frank at his guard station. The guard rules had transformed entirely, stressing a friendly vibe alongside protection. Frank now instructed all guards himself, drawing from his story as lesson. "Your error has become something truly impressive," Beth remarked, hooking her arm in her husband's as they strolled the foyer. Robert laughed. "My error? Wed to an art instructor sporting trucker hats at 5-star spots." He drew her nearer. "Finest error I ever committed." They halted at the entry where a fresh plaque stood. It stated, "At Mitchell Luxury Properties, we hold that real luxury means honoring every person with grace and courtesy. We assess not by looks, but by seeing each person's core value." Beneath lay a line Beth proposed from her top poet. "We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike." As they viewed it, Mrs. Pembroke, the intervener from Beth's ordeal, neared them. "Mrs. Mitchell, I've wanted to thank you," she said. Beth appeared taken aback. "Thank me for what?" "For revamping this spot. I've lodged at upscale hotels lifelong, but this is the first with true spirit." She surveyed the foyer. "My granddaughter volunteers at your art initiative now. She claims it's reshaped her world." After Mrs. Pembroke departed, Beth and Robert headed out. Outside, afternoon light bathed city paths where folks from all origins went about their routines, each carrying their tale, their grace. "You know the top part," Beth reflected. "What's that?" "This goes beyond one hotel or one event now. Everyone touched by this shift carries it forward. Bradley, Emma, and Frank will view folks anew forever. So will guests noting the shift." Robert nodded pensively, one tiny wave swelling vast. As they left the hotel, Beth still in her everyday gear and reliable trucker hat, they passed a roadside artist crafting portraits on pavement. Beth paused to appreciate his craft, chatting with him on methods and sparks. The artist, first surprised by her insight, soon dove into lively exchange. Robert observed with silent pride. This was his beloved, one who glided between realms by spotting shared humanity. Later that night, driving to their rural haven, Beth stared at passing urban glows. "Something brewing?" Robert queried. "I was pondering 3 months back," she answered, "how pain became beauty." "That's your talent?" Robert stated plainly. "Spotting beauty where others see mere issues." Beth faced her husband smiling. "No, that's our talent now. And consider all those never judged by looks thanks to our start." As they passed city bounds toward their serene retreat, both realized true shifts weren't gouged by firm rules or sessions, vital though they were. They measured in human bonds, shame noted and courtesy offered freely. And occasionally, those bonds sparked from something basic as a lady in a trucker hat entering a lavish hotel, rejecting limits of mere looks. Stories like Beth's recall that genuine shifts often start with one stand for grace and courtesy. Has a like event befallen you? Where were you assessed by looks over character? Post your tales in the comments below. Your account could motivate others in like struggles. If you like this video, remember to tap subscribe and the bell so you catch every uplifting tale. We post fresh videos weekly to warm your heart and maybe shift your view. From our whole channel team, recall real value comes not from looks, but from treating others right. Catch you next video.